when I made this tackle, I was running, and when I made it, I was saying, "Oh, I think this is a good time for me to actually try to practice on what the NFL is saying, like get my head across and actually get my head out of the way and try to make a form tackle." So like that's the one time in my career I actually thought about how I was going to tackle somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so this is an honor. Just met Ryan Shazier for the first time over Zoom, somebody I've admired for a long time, his perseverance, everything he's been through. And now he's starting a podcast with my good friend, Dave Damashek. It's called Don't Call It a Comeback. And now I welcome Ryan Shazier. Ryan, what's up, dude?
What's up, Chris? Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, man, of course. This is really cool. I didn't see you getting into podcasting, man. What was this kind of process like with you and Dave?
No, so I actually did a podcast a few years ago. I mean, a year ago through the Ringer, and it was just talking about straight football. But I actually like this podcast a lot, and the reason I like this one a lot is because we actually get to talk a little bit more than just football. We talk about just comeback stories, and to me, I thought it was very important to have a podcast or a platform that talk about comeback stories, because comeback stories are normally inspirational, uplifting, telling people that no matter what you go through, you can get through it. And I thought that was really important that I tell a story like that, because there's a lot of negativity that's going on in this world right now.
Yeah.
So just every time we find a story like Baker Mayfield, them coming back this week, or
how about that?
Tom Brady deciding to come back and play football again. Just all these stories have like a crazy meaning to them. So I think it's really important to tell those stories. And, Dave, he's a Pittsburgher. He's a Yinzer, so it's always fun to talk with him.
Bro, he is so Pittsburgh. It's crazy. He knows more about y'all's franchise than anybody I've ever met, and he knows football, front to back. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Is there like a guest that you'd like to have on? Like who's on your bucket list?
That's a question that I was actually thinking about the other day, because obviously, Chris, we could have you on there. We could definitely have you on there.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, hey, Rams to the – yeah, my career was sort of a comeback, 8 years in St. Louis, and then ended up on some good teams. So I could grace the microphone with y'all.
All right, and then to me, I would definitely love to talk to like LeBron about like his comeback when they were down like 3-1, just to talk about that series, or having somebody like Tom Brady. I don't know. But
you should get Brady to talk about 28-3. That'd be the one.
That'd be crazy. I think obviously he'll want to talk about that after he's done playing, though, probably.
Yes.
And then I think I would love to have like Obama on there just to talk about just sports, like how Chicago was before Michael Jordan, and then when he came or something.
Yeah.
How it changed, and then just America. I don't know.
Seems like you got your guest list worked out, bro. We get LeBron, we get Obama. I like that.
The thing is, you said those are bucket lists.
Those are the bucket lists, yeah.
I have to see if I can get them on there, though.
We got to speak this into existence, bro. That's cool, man. And Geno Smith as well, with what he's done this year, I think would be a cool guest, because I don't know, man, that kind of I'm not, no disrespect to Geno, I just did not see this happening.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we actually we already had a podcast about Geno.
Yeah.
We already had a podcast about him, and we didn't have him as the guest, because it's kind of weird you talking about your own comeback story in the middle of your comeback, especially in the middle of it. So we end up having a beat writer and a reporter that dealt with his story while he was in New York, and still understand the story now while he's in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I think after the season, just to talk about what life was like through this whole comeback, having Geno on there, I think it will make a world of a difference.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like a real lesson to people that, your surroundings matter, the atmosphere you play in, the franchise you play for. And I think, also there's a learning process. People can change. He said it himself, like, hey, I wasn't as mature, this, that, and the third. We're all pretty immature when we get in the league. And I think there's a lot that they ask of quarterbacks. Like, if I was a quarterback, I would not have been mature enough when I was 23. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I think this has been fun to watch from Geno, and hopefully get more stories like that. I'm really looking forward to the podcast. I asked Dave, I was like, do you got anything on Shazier that I can ask him? like one, controversial opinion that he has or something. And he said that, quote, turkey is a Gen X food. Is that, what does that mean?
So do you like turkey?
Yeah, on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but so like, would you prefer turkey or ham, or turkey or chicken?
The chicken.
That's what I'm saying.
In a heartbeat.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even on Thanksgiving, you might still eat chicken over turkey.
No chance. On Thanksgiving, I got to have turkey. Wait, you're eating chicken on Thanksgiving?
No. I eat ham. I eat ham on Thanksgiving.
Ham.
Yeah, we have ham.
I guess, but over turkey.
We have ham and turkey. I'm gonna have one slice of turkey.
Got it.
But I'm going to eat ham multiple times.
Okay, good. Okay, he's just prioritizing ham.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that most people in our generation, I think most of our generation, we don't really like turkey. Like it's not something that we prefer.
That's interesting.
But we eat it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't tell me shit about turkey on Thanksgiving. That's about it. Some people are going to say this is controversial, Ryan. Some people in the back of the room are nodding their heads. They're like, man, this isn't going to go over well. There's no turkey on Thanksgiving.
No. I eat it.
One slice, and then two slices.
We have it on Thanksgiving. So like whoever cooks the turkey, I will eat it. I'm gonna eat it. It's a Thanksgiving. It's part of the Thanksgiving meal. But I'm not asking for seconds of turkey ever.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, give me this. Since we're on Thanksgiving, Dave steered us into Thanksgiving 3 weeks after fucking Thanksgiving. I'm gonna give you right. What time is the ideal Thanksgiving meal? Like
2:00.
I agree. Yeah, 2:00. I don't want this wait all day. I got it because I'm starving myself, dude.
Yeah, really. So it's 2:00, and then I always get a second meal like right around like the fourth quarter of the game, or like right before the next game starts.
Yeah. So. Okay, this is another one because you're going to be dealing with Dave, so inevitably you're going to watch him looking at the lines and the board. Have you started gambling yet?
Yeah, I'm a gambler, but we haven't talked about it much yet. So, and the thing is, I try my best not to gamble on NFL games because I still know a lot of the guys, so I almost bet emotionally instead of actually betting how I should.
I do that too.
Yeah. Man, I like the soft flex with the 2 Super Bowl champion, the Super Bowl trophies in the background.
It's the only good prop I have up here, bro. It's the only good prop I have up here. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, it's hard. Like I tried not to bet the Eagles because I feel like my allegiance to the guys that are playing there is too strong. It'll cloud my judgment. So you mainly bet college, or you betting the Buckeyes pretty much all the time?
So it's very easy to bet on the Buckeyes, obviously. It's very easy to bet on the Buckeyes. But if I do bet, it's more I bet on like college basketball or March Madness.
Yeah.
I bet a lot on that. But I just told my wife, I was like, I'm going to slow down on FanDuel. I had bet and lost like $15,000 on there.
I did that the other weekend. Shit.
I was like, I can't be doing this.
Yeah, but you got to take the good with the bad, the ups and the downs. You got to hang in there. You got to keep firing. You'll be back, Ryan. You'll be back. And then when all the guys, when you get old enough, like me, I'm 37, so there's not that many guys that I play with still playing. So I can definitely bet the NFL. Give it a couple years. When they clear out, you'll be back.
Yeah, no, I'll be all right. It's just like the fact that like TJ and Cam are still playing, I can't bet on the Steelers. It's like it's really hard for me to bet on the Steelers. And then, for instance, I'm good friends with Aaron Donald. So, I went to the Rams game when Baker ended up winning the game. And I was like, I wanted to kind of bet with the Rams, but I'm like, I'm not betting with the Rams. They don't have a quarterback right now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, so it's just kind of – so
I've had trouble with that, too, with Aaron because, he was my rookie and kind of watched him grow into this monster. And he's just the best guy ever. Like, people don't understand this. He is just the best, man. And him and Erica are awesome people, and he's just not what you would expect. Like if you watched him play football, you'd expect his personality to be one way, but he's the most soft-spoken, kind of quiet, humble person off the field. And so it's hard for me if I got to bet against the Rams. What do you think he should do? You think? I mean, I haven't talked to him about it because I haven't wanted to seem like, hey, podcaster, asking my buddy a question. But next year. I don't know that the Rams are going to be that good. I feel for him. I hope somebody comes and gets him. Because if you're the Rams, what are you looking at? You don't have a lot of draft capital. You probably don't have a quarterback if Matt Stafford, continues to look the way he looks. I think he's pretty old right now, pretty banged up. I want to see. I want to see AD get freed, man.
See, AD just bought a house in California.
Oh God, I know.
Yeah, he just bought it. Obviously, he's going to be all right. He's
going to be fine.
Right. Yeah, he's going to be all right. But I think he likes it there. But I think if he was to go somewhere else and play football, I think it would be Pittsburgh. Other than that, I don't. But I don't think we'll have to give up 2 first rounders, 2 first rounders for a 32-year-old, 31, 32-year-old D tackle that's already said that he's going to retire soon.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. The Steelers aren't willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, I know that if he was I haven't asked him this either, but if I was him, I would just continue to collect the bag and stay in LA. It's a nice place. But yeah, I don't know if they're gonna win next year. Yeah, especially with Matt Stafford playing the way he's playing.
It's gonna be tough, man. So I feel for him, and they definitely got the ring, but now they're seeing the other side of it with everything they had to give up to get it. So it's tough watching them. And then if they did add him to the Pittsburgh group, like TJ's getting up there in years, Cam's up there in years. I wonder how much longer Cam plays, although he still looks awesome.
Yeah.
And then you'd have him and that sort of thing. So yeah, age would be a factor. How long do you think Cam can play? I mean, because what is he now? 32, 33?
Yeah, he's like 32, 33. The thing is, with Cam, I just see how much he work on his body and how much he loves football. I can see Cam playing 3-4 more years. I wouldn't be surprised if he played 3-4 more years, finish his contract out.
Yeah.
And and then TJ's only 27.
Yeah. Yep. He's got one more big deal. He's got one more really mega big deal.
Yeah, so TJ's all right. The thing is, our team is really young. The Steelers right now, we're really young.
Yeah.
And besides Cam, and so I don't see them trading all our draft capital for that.
Right.
So
yeah.
The thing is, I would love Aaron to come here, and we'll probably have the best defense in the league because you can't run the ball, but then we won't have any offense. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
So so Chris, this is the thing that I tell people all the time. So even I played a video game. So I said this happened to the Broncos, and now it's happening to the Rams. And I don't think it happened to the Eagles when it happened. But so the Broncos traded everybody to get that Super Bowl. Now the Broncos are struggling.
Yeah.
And then now the Rams, they traded everybody to get these Super Bowls. And now, they in a tough predicament because they paid all this money for all these big time guys, and now they're getting old. And you don't have young guys to develop now.
Well, and maybe Jalen Ramsey's the guy that if you want to get 2 firsts for somebody would still give up 2 firsts for a corner in their 20s, right? Because I do think they need to recoup some of their – I think the reason teams struggle after they do that is because they take too long saying, okay, fuck it, we got to hit the reset button. They keep trying to rob
keep
Peter to pay Paul or whatever, the old folks say. But yeah, no, I mean, you're right. It's the same thing. And the Russell Wilson contract it's not going well. So it is not going well.
And I wasn't even saying it because Russell, I was saying when it happened when they got Peyton Manning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they traded all of these pieces, got all these old guys, and it's nothing wrong with it if you win a Super Bowl. But the reason Green Bay is always in the mix, Ravens always in the mix, Steelers always in the mix is because they're hey, we might make a trade once in a while for a big time guy,
right?
But we gonna just constantly keep developing guys and just stay in the mix, So we're gonna see. I don't know.
That's right. Our Eagles team, we added cheap veterans, they added LeGarrette, myself, Torrey Smith, Patrick Robinson, who was great as a nickel for us that year. So the model is it's make the trades you got to make, but it's adding cheap vets, and it's hitting free agency at the right times and that sort of thing, not by selling the whole farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and I agree, and that's why y'all won.
We should be GMs.
and the thing is, I'm completely cool with being a GM. I just don't want to do all the DuBois stuff.
The DuBois stuff. That's the truth. That's why Jeff Saturday. Found the wrinkle. He found the wrinkle. I mean, he skipped right to the front of the line. Yeah, no question.
If I could figure it out like that, I'm cool.
How would you react to the Jeff Saturday thing? Because that was I think media people were a lot more mad than players, but still, I think as a player, I get why coaches would be upset that guys have been in that building grinding, being NFL coaches. You know how hard that is, and they get leapfrogged.
So I would say like I would say I was around like 60-40,
Yeah,
like 60-40, 50, 55, 55, 45.
yeah,
And I would say I was more 55 like happy for Jeff Saturday
yeah,
and 45 mad like everybody else. And the reason I was more mad, and the reason I was more mad is because I'm a minority, so I'm gonna be honest. So like it's a lot of minority coaches out here that deserve that opportunity that they didn't get it.
yep,
But I am happy because I feel there's a lot of coaches that are in the league right now that have not as much experience as Jeff Saturday that are head coaches of NFL teams.
yes,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And and I'm not saying that they're bad coaches, but I'm gonna just use Cliff Kingsbury for instance. I'm not saying that he's a bad coach, but like he wasn't winning in college. He's not been a winner.
right,
So just to be able to come in and get a franchise team while Jeff Saturday has Super Bowls, he's a Hall of Famer. He understands what it takes to have a great coach
yeah,
to like win a championship. So and then the biggest thing is when it comes to coaching, the head coach basically you're just a manager of a lot of other coaches. So you just have to make sure you lead the guys in the right way and just build good people around you. That's why I was happy for him because if you put the right pieces around you and understand how to lead your team, I feel that you can become a great coach.
yeah. It's guys' egos get in the way when they try to do everything, and like
Yeah.
just to delegate a little bit and that sort of thing. I'm sure Jeff had no choice but to delegate because there's a lot that goes into being an NFL coach that people don't even think about, like game management, clock management, building the week out, planning the travel, like, hey, are we going to stay on the West Coast? Like all these little things, like training. He hasn't even started to do the off-season stuff, which I think is even almost harder than kind of standing on the sideline and working
Right.
with your OCs and your DCs and that sort of thing. That's where I think the rubber's going to meet the road if they actually keep him around, because that's going to be interesting. Was Mike Tomlin like that? Was he kind of a delegator?
So like he delegates on things that he obviously he being an NFL head coach, you kind of know what everybody's doing,
Yes.
obviously. But I feel like he delegates on the things that he is not as strong at.
Yeah.
So Coach Tomlin, he played offense in college, but he's more of a defensive coach. So I think he delegates a little bit on offense more. I couldn't tell in the headset if he was calling offensive plays or not, but I could tell in the
Right.
defensive headset. And so I think he delegated a little bit more on offense, and then he was more interactive on the defensive side.
Yeah.
Like kind of how like Bill Belichick is. He's more interactive on the defensive side, and he
And then
might
he
call
hires
a
a
play here and there.
defensive coordinator to do the offense.
Yeah,
What the
yeah,
fuck?
that is crazy. That is crazy. But I think what Belichick was saying at that point was like, hey, like they have a winning record. He already knew their offense wasn't the best offense in the league anyway.
Right.
So I think he was saying, hey, if I bring in a defensive guy, he understands what a defense is going to do in this situation.
Yeah.
So let me see what can happen. And they're not playing great, but they're playing what everybody expected them to play.
No, they're in the hunt, or whatever people are calling it, and yeah, and the thing about grabbing those two defensive, Joe Judge and Patricia is like they're both New England guys, so I'm not advocating for the move, but I know that part of Bill is probably like, hey, we want inside guys, because they're so guarded. Like we don't want to bring in some hot shot coordinator and then he leaves in a year and tells all our secrets, because that's kind of the way they are. And then also I think they could save money on that thing too. So it's kind of interesting that he went that route. Mike Tomlin, the other day, did you see the video of him walking through the tunnel and the dude was like, hey, Mike. He's like, hey, Mike, smile for the camera. He's, I'm fucking working, dude.
That's Coach T, though. The thing is, why I love Coach T is because he's all about business. Like he's all about business. So like I remember one time I asked him, because I have a good relationship with him even when I was playing. And I was like, hey, Coach, man, like, and this is before like anything blew up with like any of the guys. But I was like, hey, Coach, like I think somebody got arrested on another team. I was like, man, how you deal with like NFL guys and that they're gonna get in trouble? Like how that? And he was just like, hey, it comes with the territory. He's like, if you want to be the coach in the biggest league in the world, you got to understand that it comes with the territory. Like guys are going to you're not going to ever have a team where nobody's ever going to get in trouble.
Well, statistically speaking, you put 53 grown men in a room out there anywhere, and there's going to be a couple people who aren't flying straight, and that's kind of the task of being running that daycare center sometimes. I mean, like, okay, AB not doing well right now. I don't know what the latest is, but do you think that had he been in Pittsburgh to this point, we would have kept the Band-Aid on? Because obviously he's going through some stuff.
I think Pittsburgh did a really good job of keeping the Band-Aid on, and this is one thing that I talked about the upper management with Pittsburgh before. There's like the difference between guys when you draft them and then with guys when they become free agents or sign somewhere else.
Yes,
is that when you draft somebody, you actually put a lot of work into knowing who that guy is. So and then you have those guys for 5 years, so you already know they're good, you already know they're bad, and you understand how to work with them. When you go to somebody else, a lot of times, they're paying you to come work there, but they're not paying you for all the bullshit that you bring with yourself.
Right.
So they're less likely to deal with the BS. Yeah. So I don't know if we would have been able to keep the Band-Aid on this whole time, but I think that Pittsburgh, they understood AB, they understood what type of person he was, and they understood hey, let's how to handle him in a certain way. And not handle him like he's a dog or anything, but just hey, they understood hey, AB, sometimes he makes, wild decisions sometimes. So let's try to make sure we put him in a comfortable place so he doesn't, do them more often. And so I think they would have, if he stayed in Pittsburgh, he probably would still be playing right now.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
But, things happen for a reason. God had a different plan. So.
Yeah, man, I think it is as simple as pushing the right buttons, like the way you put it. I forget what it was, but I mean, just knowing where guys hey, this is a a hot button area. Don't do that around this guy, or don't put this guy in this situation. The difference between, and I can remember when I first became a free agent, it was kind of shocking. I mean, it wasn't shocking in New England because I was like, this is New England. They don't give a fuck about what you did the last place. But
right.
I remember when I got to Philly, and I told this story on the podcast before, I got more sacks than anybody on the team. They had me sharing a locker at the fucking scrimmage the first time in camp. I'm like, bro, they really just don't care what you've done before you got to the place you got. And the difference is when you get drafted somewhere, you're like family, kind of. They count you like family. If you have a family member that's fucking up, you're always, hey, no matter what.
You got his back.
This is my family, right? I'm invested in this person. But then when you come in free agency, it's we got a house guest here.
Yeah,
so I just think
it's like a stepbrother or something.
Yes, dude, and you didn't get to experience that, and I think you would have played your whole damn career in Pittsburgh, and you're a legend in Pittsburgh now. But the free agency thing is really interesting, and I was always impressed with Mike, the way he kept things together, because I think on any good team you have to have a lot of big personalities, and teams have to be kind of fucking crazy. The best D-line rooms I was in were fucking nut houses, dude. Just crazy people in there, and it's all about just doing enough to keep people between the lines and go out and play football and harness that. So I think Mike's as good as anybody when it comes to that.
Yeah, he had one. I remember. So I remember now it's a little bit more tightened up because he just didn't like how guys were handling situations. Right. But I remember before, if it didn't involve winning football games, he didn't care. Right. Some coaches was you have to wear Eagles gear in the facility all times. You can't be on your phone in the locker room. You can't be doing this. You can't be doing that. We our best year at the Steelers, literally, I'll go up to the meeting like this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'll go up to the meeting like this. We'll be joking around. Guys will be wearing different jerseys, but we obviously you'll still have a defensive jersey on. I used to practice with number 1 on.
Yes.
Some guys will have the phone in the training room, but they're still getting treatment. And that's the best teams we had. But then, after a while, stuff started to just leak out and more people understood it. And it was Coach Thomas was all right, I have to crack the whip. Y'all got to start doing it like everybody else, And he was because he said, if it's not about wins and losses, why does it matter?
Right. And I think that's something that new coaches, and he has the luxury, he's been there a while, so you can kind of build your these are my pet peeves, these are the things that are non-negotiables for me. I've learned that through experience, and I have the clout to allow certain things. But like some coaches, they just want to piss on every bush. Like they get in the facility and they're like, know this, know that. I got these stupid rules. You got to tuck your shirt in at practice or what have you. And like I always felt the same way. It's like, I'm a professional, bro. Like I'm going to have fun, but you can bet you're going to get everything out of me on Sunday.
Right.
And I think that's like a coach has to know not everybody's the same. So you can't have the same rules for everybody. And also some things are just not that fucking important. Bill Belichick, when I got up to New England, I was blown away by how free the dress code was. Like at practice, the dudes are wearing different colored tights. They're wearing different jerseys. Like to your point, he's the greatest coach of all time. And he doesn't care about that bullshit. He cares about what gap are you in,
winning.
Bro?
Right. He cares about winning. Like if you win all this different shit and you're not doing what you need to do, then he's going to tighten up on you. But it's like, you could dress up how you want to dress up.
Yeah.
Just make sure you play football how you need to play football.
Exactly.
Like, I remember one of the guys was like, yeah, man, I got fined. Like one of my good friends was like, man, I got fined 30 G's for having my phone in my locker. I'm like, what? Like,
that's wild.
Like, how does that even help you win a football game?
It doesn't. What are Mike Tomlin's pet peeves though? Before we move on from Mike.
No, he's not a fan of people being late. So he don't like people being late.
Yeah.
And then one of the things he doesn't like is like he doesn't like to tell people to go. You know what I'm saying? So and like I remember in the media they were saying, were you mad at George Pickens for like yelling to get the ball? And he was like, hell no. He was like, I'd rather tell somebody to whoa than sick them.
Yeah.
I'd rather like pull you back and tell you to calm down than actually like, hey, I need the dog to come out of you. So he hates trying to like push the dog out of players.
All right, that's a good one. Give me the top 3 dogs you played with in Pittsburgh, because you and I both know what that word means. It's the highest compliment you can give a guy.
So obviously, so TJ was very young when I was there. So I'm gonna have to go with obviously. It's hard, man, because I like on my teams it was good teams.
It was all dogs.
So obviously AB is one of them. Obviously. Yeah. Cam Hayward on the defensive side, we had Ben, but the people that I had to fight with all the time was like Le'Veon, on the offensive side, Le'Veon, AB, and Pouncey.
Oh yeah, Pouncey. Yeah, he's extra. He's gonna be in your shit.
Yeah, and then on the defensive side of the ball, guys will be like Cam Hayward, somebody that'll be like Ike Taylor, and then Mike Mitchell. Like I feel like all those were like guys that like. Like always brought a little bit extra. Vince Williams like that as well. But it's like guys that always brought a little bit extra. And like Coach Tomlin is all for that.
Yeah, it's funny when Bill used to get ready for the Steelers, I didn't know this. The Mitchell's nickname was Hitman. Was it Hitman? Or something like that? Yeah, and he used to be like, we got fucking Hitman coming downhill here. And he used to kind of hate the Steelers, but you could tell he enjoyed getting ready for the Steelers, and he would talk about all the guys and shit. But Pats Steelers, not a rivalry. I mean, it's a rivalry, but the real rivalries are in the AFC North, right? So rank
it's a rivalry
the team.
For people in Pittsburgh.
It's a rivalry for people in Pittsburgh. It is a rivalry, okay, but it's not on the level of
Ravens.
Who do you hate the most in the AFC North? The Ravens?
Obviously, it's the Ravens. It's definitely the Ravens. It's not even close. And then, so what's crazy is Cincinnati is good at football now.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
So it used to be Ravens, Browns, Cincinnati, or Ravens, Cincinnati, Browns, and Browns. I just don't understand. Like they have all the talent in the world, and they just can't win ever. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. So, but it's always the Ravens. Like even last week, we lost to the Ravens when we definitely should have won that game.
Yeah.
So it's always Ravens. It's always going to be our toughest game, and then the next game will be. Right now, it'll probably be Cincinnati.
Yeah. Do you have a hard time appreciating Joe Burrow, or is that easy because he's so good, or are you just like oh fuck this guy, man? Jeez.
I think the guy that bothers me more is Lamar than Joe Burrow, but the Steelers don't have like Lamar is 0-4 versus Steelers.
Right. So that actually makes you feel better.
It makes you feel better. Joe Burrow, it sucks because like Joe Burrow has all the weapons.
Yeah.
So, if Joe Burrow had Lamar weapons, I don't know if we'll be saying the same thing. Like Joe Burrow has the best receiving core possibly in the NFL.
Yeah.
So and then he's just a dog. So Joe Burrow, I appreciate great football. I don't care what division you was in, what
Right.
team you play for. I appreciate good football. So to me, I worry more about Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson is literally a game breaker. So like
Yes.
basically you could be winning a game and then Lamar Jackson makes one person miss and now he's going for the races.
Yep.
So I think that scares me a little bit more than a quarterback because with Joe Burrow, if we get enough pressure on him, then you can cancel a quarterback out.
You know who was the biggest dog on those Ravens teams on offense to me was Marshall Yanda.
Yes, yes, yes. He's a dog.
He was on
Yeah,
your
he was
ass,
good.
dude, the whole play, just following you around. Like you would always get a late shove, and I'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" I know
Yeah.
who it is.
No, it's definitely no. I hated him. I hated him. I think
Yeah.
he should be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you, especially because they were pretty damn good, and he was on that team. So, all right, the injury, man. I think a lot of people. Do you ever get tired of talking about the injury? You look at it as like a way to, impart some strength on people.
I think it now is more I can impart strength on people,
Yeah.
but it was a point where I didn't want to talk about it, and I'm 5 years away from the injury now, so it allows me to be able to talk about it. It allows me to be able to provide strength, uplift people. But there was a moment where I was getting tired of talking about it for a little while.
I wouldn't. Yeah. I just felt for you, man. Like I loved watching you play. I loved watching those games. I mean, holy shit, those games were violent. Do you remember what was the most violent memory besides your injury of those games? And did anybody cross the line in those games where you were like, it was a little too much?
My most violent memory was probably when I hit Giovanni Bernard. And the reason I say that is because I didn't actually try to hit him that hard. A lot of people were saying I was trying to be dirty.
Yeah,
But as a defender, sometimes you're running so fast at somebody,
can't slow down.
it's like you can't slow down.
Can't
So
adjust levels
and,
either.
yeah, you can't. It was like he when he got the ball, I was running. I was trying to get there so fast, and when he made his cut, I was boom right there. So
Yeah.
that was probably one of the hardest hits I ever made, and it wasn't like intentionally trying to hurt him or anything, but that was probably one of the most violent plays I've ever been a part of. So I would say that play.
Because you could hit people so damn hard. Like when you hit people, like before your injury, were you ever concerned about your head, or did you ever like you got a hard head or something? Because I'm like, damn, some of the ways I was like, damn, this dude. Because I know sometimes I'll hit somebody with a run and start, and I'm like, man, I really appreciate what these linebackers do. Because we're all like subconcussive blows,
Yeah,
like a foot away from each other, just bang, bang,
yeah.
bang. You always brought it from wherever you were on the field. Like, were you ever concerned, or how did you manage that fear if there was any?
No, so the thing is that's crazy is I knew that like naturally I ducked my head when I used to tackle.
Yeah,
So every single practice after practice, like and you can go like guys that play with me, they'll let you know. I used to finish practice every single practice, like do like bag drills, go over the bag,
yeah,
and then run and tackle the tackle dummy after literally every practice. Like
right,
except for practices where we didn't have our pads on, like on Fridays and
yes,
Saturday practices and stuff.
yep,
But every practice, I would do the tackling dummy and then try to get my head across every time because I would
right,
just like get my head across and keep my head up
yes.
because I was like, man, I know I naturally drop my head, so I was like trying to practice it every single day, and it just So I went out my way to try to practice it, and unfortunately, things happen. So
What do you remember about that moment?
the thing that's so crazy about that moment is when I made that tackle. You know how the NFL is trying to make rules where guys have to move their head and
Yeah,
adjust how they're tackling, and
yep,
so when somebody's running at you full speed, I was in my head. I was like, "Oh, this is a super easy tackle. It's a drag route. As a linebacker, a drag route is not a hard tackle to make. It was a super easy tackle." And he did a drag route, and when I was doing a drag route, I was running to him, and in my head, I don't normally think about how I'm gonna tackle somebody. I just ran up and tackled him. If I seen the ball exposed, I'm gonna run up and just try to strip the ball. But I didn't really think about, all right, this is how I'm about to tackle him. This is going. A lot of times when I made a big hit, I didn't say, "Oh, I'm about to hit this dude hard." I just hit him. Some guys may think that way, but I never did.
right,
So when I made this tackle, I was running, and when I made it, I was saying, "Oh, I think this is a good time for me to actually try to practice on what the NFL is saying, like get my head across and actually get my head out of the way and try to make a form tackle. So like that's the one time in my career I actually thought about how I was going to tackle somebody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. And you would it burn right away the whole thing, or
No, so like basically I just I hit him and I dropped to the ground and I had like a burning sensation in the middle of my back, and from that point on I just didn't know what to do from there. You just
damn, dude.
I thought it was more like a stinger, like I had a stinger or something,
Yeah.
and then I went to the hospital. They told me I was going, I was paralyzed and I had a spinal cord injury.
Damn, dude. So did you think when you went to the hospital you were like, I'm not going to walk anymore, or was it just like I'm taking it one day at a time?
I was more like I'm taking it one day at a time because I was thinking of it being like a stinger. So if I take it one day at a time, I was in my head, this is very like a serious stinger. So I'm probably gonna be back in like a week, 2 weeks. I can't walk right now, but I'll be all
Yeah.
right. And then I had to have surgery. Then after my surgery, I ended up getting really sick. When I got really sick, and I threw up in the on my bed, and I couldn't move out of the way, and it hit me back in my face. I was saying to myself, yeah, I'm hurt a lot worse than I think I am, and that's when I started to really lock in and say, hey, I need to start locking in on this rehab and get better.
Like accepting that it's going to be a longer process than you thought.
Yeah, yeah,
But how was your mental, man? Because like I feel like that happened, and we're right at the point now where as athletes, like we talk about this stuff, right? Because like more people are talking about, hey, I'm anxious about this. I might be depressed. I might be whatever. But I would imagine me going through that would test every fiber in my body. Not just physically, but mentally too. And I wonder if you like leaned on anybody from a did you see somebody? Did you talk to somebody to kind of help you through that process? Not the rehab process, 'cause I know that was an everyday grind, but like to take care of your mental as well.
it was more of a like I'm a very positive person. This is your first time meeting me, but I'm a very positive person. So as I was going through my injury, it's just a battle of ups and downs. It was like a roller coaster because with me being positive, no matter what I was going through, I was still uplifting. I was still just no matter what, I'm gonna overcome this. I kind of treated it like going to the NFL. A lot of people say I would not get there and I will overcome it. That's kind of how my mindset was. But I did have moments of depression. I did have moments of anxiety. I was struggling, to watch football. The year I got hurt was the year I was supposed to get my contract. So to think about that, it's the same time I'm supposed to be getting a contract, and I see guys at my position making $90 million, $80 million. Literally, if I played 4 more games, I would have had that. So
Yeah.
that was something. That was something that really kind of stressed me out and kind of helped. Like was really tough for me to deal with. But after a while, and just understanding what the dynamic was, I was able to overcome it.
Man, dude. And I know I heard stories about Vince Williams being all shook up in the locker room and and we've been through that because you've seen guys get knocked out and we've seen teammates really fucked up. And, it's like, man, it's crazy. We got to go right back out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't even imagine being your guy. Like if we knew each other and we were teammates, man, I would have a hard time going back out there. It's
Yeah.
but
Yeah, Cam and Vince, it was tough for them when I was dealing with the injury because Vince is one of my closest friends. Me and him talk all the time to this day, and we talked almost every day or every other day when I was playing. So yeah, I was in Vince's wedding,
yeah.
so it was just like that's like we're really good friends. So it just it definitely it shook him up pretty bad. I ended up seeing that after the fact.
Jeez, man. In 2018, when you walked across the stage, bro, that had to just be. I mean, it gave me chills. I watched it this morning just to watch it again. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, you're a year out, but you're less than a year out from your injury,
Yeah,
right?
it was less than a year out, and I wanted to do that just to basically tell a lot of people that was praying for me and wishing the best for me. Just thank you because I know a lot of prayers were sent out, a lot of love was sent out, and I just wanted just to let people know that I'm getting better, but also just like thank you for the prayers that you sent out, just the love that you showing me, and just to show that I'm getting better because to me it was like a milestone just to walk out there on the stage in front of a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely, man. And now 5 years later, what's living with that injury in the rearview mirror? I'm sure it's still like a part of your life. Like do you get how do you feel day to day, and what can you do physically now?
So I can do a lot of stuff physically. I can't run as if I used to run. I'm in pretty good shape. I can work out. I kind of do in-home workouts and things like that. But I'm not really a super active guy.
Yeah.
I just try to stay in good shape. I might do the elliptical or the bike or a few. I never was a big like push weight guy. So
Yeah.
like to me, I still don't like to do it that much. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
trying
were
to
always
figure out how to do.
lean.
Yeah, I was always lean, so I'm not a real big weight guy. So even when me and my wife try to work out, I'm not real fond of working out like that
Yeah.
when it comes to pushing weights.
Yeah.
But I can kind of work out with my wife, and then just pretty much the everyday things that natural people do, just walking and
Yeah.
just playing with their kids, and I can do all that though. So I'm blessed by
Is
that.
it still like, do you feel it up high? Do you feel it down low? Like, where is most of that? Like, damn, my neck
So
hurts today.
So I really don't have as much pain,
Yeah.
but when I do have it, it's kind of in the middle of my back. I have a little bit of back soreness,
Yeah.
but I don't really have much pain anymore, which is a blessing. But like right now, I'm a little bit sore,
Yeah.
but I normally don't really have pain, which is a huge blessing for me.
Can you get Cairo? Like, is that something that, like, you can't get cracked, or can you get cracked? Like, are there special rules
I,
kind of with your injury?
yeah, I can't get covered, but I just have to let them know where I'm having some issues at or
Yeah.
where they can't crack my back at. But I can't get cryo though.
Fuck, dude. I need some Cairo right now, and I can't complain. I'm talking to you on the goddamn Zoom. And I'm like,
No, 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 no. I know exactly what you mean because I go through it too. Especially when I see one for a while, then I don't
yeah.
see him for a few weeks.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell the difference.
Yep, no question, man. Well, I'm glad you're fucking doing awesome, man. I mean, I want to talk to you about Luke Fickell real quick. He was somebody that I know you got to know, and he got the job up at Wisconsin, right? And this feels like a really good fit. Why is it a good fit, and what kind of leader was he?
He's a great leader, and the reason I say that is because the way he loves his players. He's somebody that's going to always put his foot out for his players. He's always going to defend his players. If you're going to throw a jab at his players, you're throwing it at him first.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of his players are going to love him for that. I know he's going to gain a lot of their trust because of that. And he's a very blue collar, hardworking, gritty guy. So when it comes to Wisconsin, that's the type of ball they like to play. Obviously, Wisconsin loves to run the ball, so he's gonna have them being a very physical, hard running team. I'm gonna be. I can almost guarantee that his team is going to be kind of constructed how the Tennessee Titans are. They don't have a Derrick Henry, but I can definitely see them being constructed how the Tennessee Titans are in the way they play ball.
That's definitely he's got a lot of Vrabel in him. I mean, those two guys. I mean, yeah, and Vrabel's
best
the
friends.
man.
So.
Yeah, you can tell Vrabel's awesome. Were you surprised by the struggles Urban had in the pros? Thinking about your college coach, I know you had committed to him, and then he came back and coached Ohio State. I know it's really hard for college coaches to project. Like Matt Rule's struggle with it, but Urban's struggles were pretty big. Were you surprised by that?
So the biggest reasons I knew that it was going to be a little bit up and down for Coach Meyer is because Coach Meyer and Coach Saban, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of successful pro coach, college coaches, they have a lot of control over like the players. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I think when you're younger, you need somebody that's kind of telling you what to do, kind of having an eye on everything you do. And in the NFL, you don't have as much say on the guys on what they do. And if somebody is a starter and they're not playing, if they're making a lot of money and they're not playing, then you have to ask a lot of other questions. And to me, I feel that wasn't Coach Meyer's strength.
Right.
I feel his strength is more dealing with guys that he can touch a little bit more to mold them a little bit more, because by the time they get to the NFL, they're molded already. So in the NFL, you don't get as much. In the college, you don't get as much pushback from the players as you do in the NFL. So I can definitely, I can see that's kind of why he might have had some struggles.
Last question for Ryan Shazier. Been real graceful with time. Kenny Pickett, is he the guy? I think he might be the guy. What do you think? You watch him just as much as me and more.
I think Kenny Pickett is a guy, and the reason I say that is because if Kenny plays this game this week, I'm not saying anything bad about Mitch, but we would have won this game.
Yep.
And the reason I say that is because Kenny is starting to get a better relationship with his receivers. He's starting to trust his receivers. He's starting to trust his O-line. He understands when he's in trouble. Obviously, the play he got hurt, his O-line didn't block a soul.
Right.
But
it happens.
But it happens. It's part of the game. But I think Kenny is the guy because after the bye week, he wasn't turning the ball over. He's understanding how to get everybody involved.
Yep.
He understands if a receiver is mad, he's like, all right, I'm gonna make sure I get you the rock. If somebody is upset, I'm gonna get you the rock. So he's doing a better job of that. I just think that he needs to just have a little bit more protection around him. If he has protection around him, we have the weapons. Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. Man, George Pickens is a dog.
He's incredible.
He's a really good player. Pat Freiermuth, I think in 2 or 3 more years, is going to be a top 5 tight end, if not already a top 5 tight end. And then Najee Harris, you can see in the back half of the year, he's running the ball a lot better. At the beginning of the year, he was hurt. The back half of the year, he's running a lot better. So our offense is getting along. We just have to have a better running game.
Yeah.
If we have a better running game, I think Kenny Pickett's the guy because he understood what were bad plays, what were bad throws, what were mistakes that he made in the first half of the season, and I don't think he's going to make those anymore.
Yeah, I think getting more out of Najee Harris, who's already given you a lot, but at times I know the fans have been impatient, but the situation hasn't been perfect for him. It wasn't perfect his rookie year, and it's definitely not perfect now. So I look forward to seeing him getting some more burn. And then I do think Kenny Pickett's a guy. I like all the intangibles. Ryan Shazier, appreciate the time. You got to check him out on Don't Call It a Comeback with Dave Damashek, my good friend. These guys, man, I never met Ryan, but he's the fucking man, dude. I appreciate y'all. Come on the show anytime, dude.
I appreciate you, Chris, man.
Yeah, man. Talk to you soon. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.